Vinyl Ventures crew, are you ready for another show? This is our award-winning podcast, Vinyl Ventures. Welcome.
Thanks for the welcome. Can you tell me a little about the award?
It's a major award.
It's a major award. Today, what are we talking about?
Shakeups and breakups.
So it's kind of crazy that we're almost to 100 episodes, and we haven't devoted a show to bands that have imploded or exploded or morphed into other things. That's what we're doing today.
Yes, we're doing a deep dive into band changes, and are they better or worse?
Yeah.
We're going to find out.
There are a lot of opinions out there. What did you come away with this time?
The big thing I found in doing research on this, a lot of the bands as we know them did not start out that way.
No. I mean, there are a few exceptions. You know, the Beatles had that very short period of time where the world knew about them and then they were gone. But a lot of other bands go through struggles and strife, and we know them as that band that became famous. I mean, the Beatles had lineup changes too.
Yeah, but they weren't the Beatles so much when they did the lineup changes.
Yeah, or they weren't just so known to everybody everywhere. And I hadn't even thought about that until just now because I was like, hey, we're actually going to do a show where we don't talk about the Beatles. But we just did.
We got to start. You got to start by talking about the Mount Rushmore because, they had changes.
Yeah, everything filters down from there. Now, we want you guys to go to our Fourth Wall page, visit that, maybe throw a few shekels at the show. You can see behind-the-scenes stuff, pictures, and get behind-the-scenes gear that nobody else can get. And on the socials, what do we want people to do, John?
Like, subscribe, share.
And comment. We've gotten a lot.
I always forget comment. That's the most important part.
It is. We've gotten a lot of comments lately.
Yeah.
And it's fun having that back and forth with the viewers.
It really is because you guys are really what make this show hum.
You guys and the guys that work behind the scenes here to kind of put everything together. So what is the first band that you'd like to start with, and why?
Well, I'm going to start with a little band out of California.
A little band out of California. I'm going to straighten this up. How about that?
Jefferson Airplane.
Now, I don't have this. I have looked for it. I'd love to have it. I mean, they're one of those bands that had eras, you know, and they're beloved in a certain era. They're kind of, you know, floating through space in another era, and then they explode in their like last era.
Yeah, as Starship.
Yeah. And that song that they're known for, actually a couple hits in the 80s, people either just hate that song or love it. Yeah,
for a band to go from where they were at the beginning to that is
pretty crazy.
Pretty crazy.
Now, what did you learn about Jefferson Airplane?
The big thing is, so they started out with another female singer.
Whose name is not easy to pronounce.
No, you do it because I'm going to...
Signe
Tolley Anderson.
Signe
Tolley Anderson
is her name.
Yeah.
And I find it interesting that I didn't know. I never dug in.
No.
Because you apply Grace Slick to this band.
Yeah.
She's the face. She's the voice. She's the first thing that I think of. And there was another woman before her.
Yeah. In 65, Signe was the singer. And then she left the band in 66 to have a child. And Grace replaced her that evening.
That's interesting.
I mean, she stepped in the next gig.
Are there recordings with this original singer?
That I don't know for sure.
Okay. It would be interesting to dig in and find out about that. But, you know, this album, this has, I can't even read it. What's the big song off of here? Is it Somebody to Love?
Somebody to Love.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Which is...
And is that... and White Rabbit.
White Rabbit. That's
Yeah,
right.
that's the one I
right.
was thinking
Yep.
of.
Yep. They are associated with kind of that Haight-Ashbury, San Francisco scene.
Oh yeah.
They're almost the first band you think of. The other one is Grateful Dead, of course. But these guys were an anomaly at the time.
Yeah, maybe on there I have two of their albums. I may have After Bathing at Baxter's. It may be Jefferson. I may have the first album, Jefferson Airplane Takes Off.
Okay.
But this is the one I really wanted to. This is when Grace Slick really became the big part of Jefferson Airplane.
Yeah, I mean, she was the focal point. There were interesting band dynamics and people having relationships. It's funny because like that happens, it seems to happen in any band where there are males and females sharing the stage.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And these guys were kind of a precursor to another band that we'll talk about with interesting dynamics a little later in the show.
Yeah, there may very well be recordings with Signé,
Yeah.
but Grace is on the first album.
Right.
Yeah.
And
this is the second album.
And so they were Jefferson Airplane, then Jefferson Starship, and then just Starship. And you had We Built This City, Sarah. There was maybe one or two other hits, but it's just so odd for a band in its later stages, which would have been the mid 80s, to just explode like that again.
Yeah, and to change their name.
Right.
I mean, that alone is like the band's completely changing their name.
Yeah, well, and I think part of that is the
legal
and people from the earlier
Yeah.
versions not being involved in that one. Yeah.
But as we'll find out, other bands just say, screw it. We're going with this lineup.
They don't even bother changing names.
No.
It's an interesting dynamic for sure. And I feel like in today's world, it's much different than like when I was a teenager. When I was a teenager, if somebody in a band left, that was irreversible damage
Yeah.
to that band's reputation, ticket sales, record sales. But now, and as we will see here a little later in the show, I don't think people pay attention to that anymore. I think people know the name, people know the logo, and that's all they care about.
And they know the music.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure, which is an important part. But from a marketing standpoint, people just, you'll see these big festival shows anymore, and it's just got the logos of every band that's playing each day. And
the logo is huge.
That's all people care
nowadays.
about. Anything else about Jefferson Airplane?
No, I think we've pretty much covered it.
What drew you to getting this record?
Well, I bought both of these two records when I was working at a record store because they were cheap.
The Best Buy series.
Yes.
I love it.
And that's almost the Best Buy logo. Early Best Buy logo. It's weird. Because
it is wild.
Best Buy didn't even exist when they did these albums.
It's a printed hype sticker.
A printed hype sticker. And the other one's the same way. So I probably bought them both at the same time because they were, I don't know, new.
Yeah.
Probably $5, $6. They were reasonable.
Let's see the back. And the back's just got more portrait stuff of the band. That's cool. That's a good one. Like I said, I still don't have that record. I probably should.
You should have it. This is the one to have.
All right. Well, I'm going to start with a band that we don't talk about much.
Gwar.
This is Gwar, and this is Scumdogs of the Universe. I love this pressing of this. Did I tell you I've started the process of putting my records in Discogs?
Oh yeah,
it is a grind.
It is,
and I haven't made it to the G's yet. I'm going from A through. So anyway, Gwar, what a strange band. They're kind of like a more disgusting version of Kiss with their live shows, and their live shows are what they were known for. They would, during the show, spray the crowd with fake blood and fake other bodily fluids. It was always like a crowd participation thing. And
It's like the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
sort of. And in the 90s, I didn't get it the way I get it now. Now, the guy that was the heart and soul of GWAR is a guy named Dave Brockie, who died, I want to say, about 12 or 15 years ago. And the band was kind of on hiatus after that. And now you will see, and if I get my stuff together, you will see a band out there touring as GWAR and some of the original touring members in it, but Dave Brockie obviously is not. And I want to love it just as much and to give it a chance, but it's just not the same. And I think my appreciation for this band came when Dave Brockie put a couple of solo albums out that are just ridiculous, but a lot of fun. And so that kind of drew me back in to the band to get to know the band better. And now it's just, it's I don't know, it's just not the same. It's Dave would go as Odorous Urungus, which was his character.
His character,
He
yeah.
would go like on CNN, and they would or news show. I think he was on Fox too, and he'd go on news shows and talk about news of the day in character. And, he was just the ultimate showman. He was also the ultimate metal fan. I mean, he really loved metal music. Brockie died in 2014, so it's been 12 years. So the new guy singing is Michael Bishop. He also plays bass. When you've got a person that's a focal point of a band like that is basically built on humor and satire, it's almost like doing a stand-up routine along with a heavy metal show.
Yeah, it really
along
is.
with a performance art thing. And that's a really tough pair of shoes to fill. I mean, they put new albums out. They still tour. Let's open this up, by the way. Give the folks a...
There they are,
Yeah.
playing.
There they are on stage. This is a special, I think this might be... this is a Revolver special press that came out like 10, 12 years ago, I think. And I just love it. But they are also one of the bands that if you're going to... if you're going to get into them, you're really going to have to dig in and listen to the lyrical content and know just how subversive and wacky it is. But I'll keep trying to give them a chance, but I just don't feel like GWAR is the same without Mr. Brockie. So, but that's GWAR. This is Scumdogs of the Universe. I think my favorite album of theirs is probably Ragnarok. I think that came out in like 94. But yeah, if you haven't listened to GWAR or you haven't watched any of the videos, have you?
No.
You ever done? Oh God,
I've not. I've watched a little bit, but not a lot.
I feel like you'd really like them. They're
Yeah.
kind of like a heavy metal Devo,
Ooh,
which
I need to check them out. It's just one of the. It's a blind spot for me.
yeah, give them a check or give them a watch and a listen. There's a lot more to this band,
Than
especially
just
back
the
in
costumes.
than the costumes and the visuals and stuff. So yeah, man, GWAR. And I think it's interesting. This is the first time we've ever gone from GWAR to
Fleetwood Mac.
its reverse alphabetization.
Yeah, and
Now, wait a minute. You're telling me that there's weird stuff going on in this band?
oh yeah,
Okay. Tell us about it.
lots of weird stuff. I mean, Fleetwood Mac really pretty much started as a blues band.
Yeah.
And
Peter
it was
Green.
Peter Green. And then when Peter Green left the band, it was pretty much Mick Fleetwood's band.
Mm-hmm. And John McVie.
And John McVie, yes. And then Christy came in the fold. And then when, when Peter Green and Bob Welsh replaced Peter Green. But
yep.
then he left. And then they brought in Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham, who were performing as a duo. The
Buckingham Nicks.
Yes, Buckingham Nicks.
And that album was just repressed last year. Was it last year or was it? I think it was last year, late last year. The Buckingham Nicks album with both of them on the cover, both of them without shirts, and that has long been a sought after album.
Yes.
And
it didn't do well when
No.
it came out, but that's the album that got them the gig.
Yeah.
Because they brought them both in together.
It's interesting, and it's not just in Fleetwood Mac's case. It's not just a lineup change. It's not like plucking people from other places and putting them in there. This is a completely new, almost completely new direction for the band.
Absolutely, because they're going a little more poppy, a little more commercial,
singer-songwriter-y.
Yeah.
And Lindsey Buckingham brought songs to the mix. He brought he is a monster guitar player. Most people kind of, when they talk about this band, they leave out the fact that Lindsey Buckingham is just a one-of-a-kind guitar player. So he could handle that Peter Green stuff and wrote new songs and could handle adding parts to songs that Christine McVie or Stevie would bring to the fold. It was almost a perfect timing.
Yeah, it just worked really well.
Yeah. And then what happens next?
Then what happens next?
Yeah.
So then Lindsey leaves the band.
But there were other things like
Oh yeah.
Stevie and Mick Fleetwood having a relationship.
Oh, there's a lot of strife going on in that band.
Yeah.
And it was at their most popular point.
Yep. I mean, when you're selling tens of millions of records and selling shows out,
Yeah.
and you're just on that cycle of recording, performing, recording, performing. That's got to be tough.
Yeah. There's a lot going on.
So then we went through Lindsey also had like a great career in the 80s. So did Stevie.
Yes.
Even Christine McVie put out some solo records, but Lindsey had Holiday Road from Vacation. Stevie had Edge of 17 and, all of those albums. But it seems like Fleetwood Mac was the gravitational pull that always pulled people back in.
Yeah.
And then this last breakup was interesting because I guess Stevie and Lindsey had a spat on stage at some awards show, and she basically gave them an ultimatum, like, it's either him or me. And so the guys are like, see you later, Lindsey. And then they brought in Neil Finn and Mike Campbell from the Heartbreakers to replace one guy. Interesting.
Yeah. You got to bring in two people to replace one.
And in the time since, Christine McVie has passed away.
Yes.
And I have heard talk about them possibly getting back together, but we'll see.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Money is the root of all evil, and it's the root that drives these bands.
Yeah, it's the fuel that drives the bands. It will be interesting. I mean, it's so interesting nowadays because bands are making their money from the live performances. That is king.
It really is.
And I don't know. We'll see what happens. You've got these pictures of the band on here before the craziness ensued.
Or during the craziness.
During the craziness.
Yes.
And this album has sold like 20 million copies, I think.
It's way up there.
So it's really interesting to me that a band that's so successful, I mean, it makes complete sense that a band this successful and this under the microscope would struggle so much.
Yeah, because they started in 67.
Yep.
And they didn't even bring in Nix and Buckingham until 74.
Yeah.
So that's, they've been around 7 years.
Yeah. And man, if you haven't listened to that Peter Green version of this band, their last album they did with Peter Green is called And Play On, I think is the name of it. Really, really good record. Very bluesy, but has a like a Pink Floyd kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Check them out because,
it's different. It's not, if you like Fleetwood Mac, Fleetwood Mac,
yeah,
you may not dig the other stuff.
Yeah, but if you like blues, I mean, Peter
You're gonna
Green,
like it, yeah.
Peter Green was a phenomenal guitarist for sure. Well, that's a good one. Oh, that's your record.
That's mine.
I'm not going to take that.
it.
Oh, now I've done it.
Oh no, he's done it.
I've done it now. Did you ever hear about this controversy with this Van Halen band?
No. Tell me.
Well, it's interesting because today or yesterday I looked into it, and so we all know Van Halen. We all know the 6 albums that they did with David Lee Roth before he was jettisoned from the band and they brought Sammy Hagar in. There's a couple interesting things if you dig into this. Now, in the classic days, the guy that produced Van Halen was a guy named Ted Templeman. And he did a lot of he did a lot of artists and bands' records in the 70s and 80s. Here's where it really gets interesting. The band Montrose with Ronnie Montrose?
Oh, yeah.
That's Sammy's first singing gig. And in the U.S., Montrose is kind of ignored, kind of the way Thin Lizzy is.
Yeah.
I mean, they know people know Rock Candy, and that's about it. Well, Ted Templeman was Montrose's producer. And in the early days of Ted Templeman producing for Van Halen, he was having such second thoughts about David Lee Roth being the singer of Van Halen, because Roth really wasn't a singer. I mean, the performances on the albums...
He was a showman.
He was a showman, but the performances on the albums are great, and they sound great, but he was not a live performer. Ted Templeman, when they were recording that first Van Halen album, considered replacing David Lee Roth with none other than Sammy Hagar at that time.
At that time.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess, I don't know that he ever broached the subject with the band, but he worked very closely with Sammy and Montrose on those 2 albums. So I just think that's really interesting that, I guess that would have been, 78, and he didn't even come into the band until 85. So that's like 13 years.
Yeah, so Sammy was in the bullpen.
Or not 13 years, like 7 years.
Yeah, so Sammy was in the bullpen for a while.
Well, from the producer standpoint. And the way that Eddie met Sammy is they had a mutual car mechanic. Like Eddie...
It gets even weirder.
Yeah, Eddie had a Lamborghini that this guy was working on, and Dave had just left the band, and I guess his mechanic said, hey, you should talk to this guy. Isn't that weird?
That's strange.
Yeah. Anyway, I thought it was also interesting that if you look at the pure numbers, sales of Roth era Van Halen are around 70 or 57 million with Dave. Now, they had 2 more albums than they did with Sammy. With Sammy, sales are around 30 million, 27 to 30 million. But the thing that sets the Sammy era apart for Van Halen is that all 4 of the Sammy era Van Halen albums debuted. Is that right? Oh, yeah. So they achieved 4 consecutive #1 albums, 5150, OU 812, For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge, and Balance. So technically they sold more records with Dave, but they had better chart performance and higher profile with Sammy. And here's the back of Atlas dropping the globe full of Van Halen here. And I've talked about the record before. This is my Half Price Books version that a friend, J-Mac, bought me years ago, and it was $14.99. Anyway, the Van Halen thing, everybody wants to like say it was better this way or it was better that way. I just say, why not both?
Why not both? But which one would you pick, Sammy or Dave?
I did. I saw Van Halen in like 2012, I think, with Dave, with Wolfgang playing bass, not Michael. So it wasn't technically the original band. Dave was not good that night. And that was, 12 years ago now, or 14 years ago. I've seen Van Halen with Sammy probably 8 times. And he's always great.
Yeah.
And the band is always great with him. So for me, if I had to pick one that I'd like really enjoy listening to, it would probably be the Dave era. But if I were buying a ticket to see the band live, it would have to be Sam.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. But you don't have to choose. We live in a world where both can exist equally, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, there's the Van Halen. We got that out of the way early.
That's out of the ringer. So let the arguments ensue.
yeah, we'll see in the comments. Who's next?
Well, a little band out of Illinois, REO Speedwagon.
The Midwest's own.
And this band, you talk about shakeups and breakups. I mean, the players in this band, it's been like a rotating. There have been a couple. I'm not even sure when they became big how many of the original members were still in the band.
Right.
Because the band's known for Gary Richrath and
Kevin
Cronin. They both replaced other people. I mean, they had so many guitar replacements. Started as Bob Crownover, and then Indiana's own Duke Tomato, which his name is Bill Fierro, something like that. But we're going to call him Duke Tomato. That's how we know him.
Yeah.
So he was in the band for a bit, and that's actually who Cronin replaced. And
that's Richrath replaced.
Yeah. Cronin replaced the original singer, Terry Luttell.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then they went on to like have this string of hits in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
And this story is apropos to recent times too, because 2 years ago, Kevin Cronin was touring with REO Speedwagon. And I think he was really the only original guy.
Yeah. And he wasn't even an original guy.
No. But classic era.
Yeah, classic
guy.
Era.
But then there was some shakeup with the other 2 guys in the band not wanting him to tour with that name. So now Kevin Cronin has to tour as Kevin Cronin of REO Speedwagon, as opposed to just REO Speedwagon. And this circles back to what I was talking about. If you can just put that logo there, people immediately know it.
Yeah.
Right? But when you start saying this guy from this band, that's a different presentation completely. And it affects ticket sales and all that
everything.
Stuff. So it's appropriate because it's recent. I mean, all of these legacy bands are relying on that legacy. They're relying on that, what's the word? They're relying on playing on people's emotions because they knew the band at this certain point. And that's a very big piece of the pie for all the way that all these guys make money, right?
Yes, absolutely. And
I had no idea about the Duke Tomato thing. That's
yeah, and this is a live album, but this is the first. Well, REO, which came out in '76, and it was just called REO. That was the first one with Cronin and Rich Rath as a team.
I like it. This is called "You Get What You Play For."
It's a fun live album.
It is.
And this was the first concert I ever saw
Oh, was it?
on New Year's Eve in 1980.
Oh my God.
I mean, I may have been to some other concerts,
Yeah.
but this is really the first one
Yeah.
that I remember.
That's so funny. Is Riding the Storm out on this one?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's like a focal point of their live show is that song, and it's great.
Yeah, and when I was in high school, there was a band, and they played pretty much REO and Leonard Skinner.
Skinner Speedwagon.
Yeah, they were really good. They did some other stuff, but I mean, they always played REO and.
It just occurred to me. Skinner is another one.
Yeah, Skinner.
We can talk about that at the end. We'll talk about some.
Pretty much, I'd say most bands are going to have some sort of lineup change.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
It is.
It's
When
interesting.
you really start looking at it.
But again, I think that things are the way they are with these bands because of the music industry having gone through such a tectonic shift, from digital music to streaming. And the ways that these bands make money are selling tickets and selling merch. So I'm going to open this up. Let's look at, are there pictures of the show in here?
Oh, no.
No.
It's not it is a very fun live album.
Okay.
It really is.
I will have to check it out. Let's turn it around. Oh, it's just kind of, so the photos are on the front and back cover.
Yeah.
They really are a great band. I
They-
mean, they're kind of pigeonholed for having sappy love songs, but they do some fun stuff. Cool, man. I like it. I never expected you to be talking about REO Speedwagon.
I don't have a lot of REO,
Yeah.
but I wanted to bring this one.
Cool.
And you can tune a...
Piano, but you can't tune a fish.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one.
I love the cover of that album.
Yeah, and then you've got High Infidelity, which is the one with Keep On
That's
Loving You. And
That's when I kind of checked out of REO.
Yeah.
I've got this bad habit of when bands get big, I'm out.
you're gone.
I'm done.
They become the enemy.
Yeah, they become the enemy.
Well, that's a good example. I think one of the most interesting examples is Genesis. Now, when I was a kid carrying my radio around with D batteries in it and listening to the radio all day, the song That's All from the self-titled Genesis record was on the radio about every 5 minutes. And as far as I knew at that time, Genesis was Phil Collins, Mike Rutherford, and Tony Banks, right? I had no idea about the Peter Gabriel era. But Genesis is one of those bands that not only was there a major shakeup in Peter Gabriel leaving for a solo career, but then as a result, Peter Gabriel has an enormous solo career, sells tens of millions of records, has hit after hit. He's one of those guys that is the face of like 80s pop, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The same goes for Genesis. They are one of those groups that had just huge hits in the 80s. And then the same goes for Phil Collins' solo career.
Yes.
There probably has not been a band shift or shakeup like this that has resulted in more album sales than Peter Gabriel, Phil Collins, Genesis. And I love all eras of it. I mean, a lot of the Genesis stuff from the 80s is like light years from the prog rock, performance art era with Peter in the 70s. But I love it all. I mean, it's all great. Duke is one of my favorite Phil Collins era albums. You've got Duchess, Misunderstanding, which is a huge one on here. Duke's End, Alone Tonight, Turn It On Again. I mean, this was a huge hit for this band, and I kind of dig the
that's a
individual
nice treatment.
artwork for each of the songs' lyrics here. But this is Genesis straddling that line between the pop world and the prog world and trying to make everybody happy. And this is great. Abacab is another Phil Collins era album that does that well. But then you just had really big pop hits, not just for Genesis, but also for Phil Collins solo. And the other funny thing is, like, it's easy to confuse. Like, was Sussudio a Phil Collins song or was it a Genesis song? There's no mistaking, Peter Gabriel's hits. I mean, you had Sledgehammer, you had Big Time, you had Red Rain, on and on.
It goes on and on.
But yeah, I just think that it's one of the most interesting because everybody involved just exploded. It was almost like the timing was perfect.
And I'm more of a Peter Gabriel guy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. There's something about Phil's voice that really, like, his first solo album was great.
Oh yeah.
But there's something about his voice that really just does not ring with me.
And it's interesting that you mentioned that because they did like 2 or 3 albums with Phil singing. And a lot of people didn't even know. I mean, if they sound similar,
yeah,
in the inner workings of Genesis as a band, a lot of people didn't realize that it wasn't Peter Gabriel. I mean, you didn't have the internet, you didn't have instantaneous news. I mean, somebody leaves a band now. I mean, everybody hears about it.
It's big news
immediately.
Yeah.
But I thought Genesis was a good.
That's a great
one. Good example because it's just it's improbable for them to continue and have the same success as they did.
Yeah.
But they did. And apparently Peter leaving in 1975 after The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway he was needing more family time after his first child was born. I guess that was a difficult birth. And there were creative differences and growing tension in the band. So, but yeah, Genesis.
It worked out well for everyone.
It did. Everybody's getting those checks in the mail.
Yes.
What's your next one?
Next, we're going to flip coast and go to the West Coast. Black Flag.
I like it. We don't talk about Black Flag that often.
Maybe not.
Yeah. It's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
So when Des Cardinha decided to give up singing duties to Henry Rollins, that's when this album came out, and that's when Black Flag really took off.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of an amalgamation of the right guy at the right time.
Oh, yeah. And he was young, too, right?
Yeah, he was young. And he was from D.C.
Yeah. You know all the inner workings of those underground punk
and
albums
there was a
and
big
stuff.
punk scene in D.C., but then out in L.A., it was just as big.
Yeah. That's it. And it's kind of crazy to think that there was such a punk scene in D.C., right?
Yeah.
You don't associate that area with that kind of music.
And it was driven a lot by Ian MacKaye, who was in Minor Threat.
Yeah.
And Ian MacKaye and Henry Rollins, I just read somewhere they've got some sort of collaboration coming up.
I don't think it's a full album.
Yeah, it may just be a song.
It might be a song or an
EP.
EP, but I read that too. I meant to send it to you. It's funny that We both heard about it. No, and he wasn't with the band
No, he
long
wasn't.
at all.
No. He was only with the band for 5 years. But that time, and I think he took the band in a more darker, more poetic, moody direction, because the lyrics were really, I mean, there was something to say about the lyrics.
Yeah, yeah. And he's just an interesting cat.
Oh, he is a very interesting dude and a huge record collector.
Yeah, Henry, if you're watching, we'd love to have you on the show.
Yes. He's a whale.
We'd love to come check out your record collection. Is he a straight edge guy too? Like no alcohol, no drinking.
Well, the straight edge came out of DC
Oh, did it?
and
Oh, okay.
Discord Records.
Oh, okay.
Because a
that's
lot
right.
of those bands were straight edge cats.
Yeah, yeah. That's such an interesting.
It's an interesting, well, and part of it was because a lot of them were so young.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some of them weren't even, when they started were 16, 15, 17. So,
Yeah, yeah. To me, it's funny thinking of teenagers rebelling by not doing anything like that.
Yeah. It was an interesting little movement that produced some incredible music. I mean, you would think they're on something because all these bands were so high charged and
Yeah.
started stage diving. I mean, that's where it started.
Yeah.
With kind of those
And
two
mosh
scenes.
pits.
And mosh pits, yeah.
Rollins left Black Flag and formed Rollins Band, right? And,
Yeah.
and then, I mean, he never really had like huge commercial success from that, but definitely took a lot of fans with him with the Rollins Band stuff. And then he just started doing spoken word stuff too.
He's a very interesting dude.
Yeah.
And you see why Black Flag had some songs that were poetic.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
I mean, this is known for the cover of Louie Louie, another
printed hype sticker.
printed hype sticker. I'll never lose it.
No, you won't, and you don't have to cut it out either. So
No.
a circular printed hype sticker is Jay approved.
Good.
One that's actually a sticker, that's bullshit.
Yes.
Anything else about Black Flag and Henry?
No.
That's a good one because, we talk, I love the fact that you bring that punk knowledge to the show and the underground knowledge because like I said, it was just a couple years before me. And so I was not initiated to any of that stuff as a young music fan.
And Black Flag is still out there performing.
Yep.
But there's so many spin-offs. The Circle Jerks are kind of a spin-off of Black Flag,
Yep.
which Greg Ginn, that's who I was trying to think. It's Greg Ginn's still doing some Black Flag shows.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they were big behind also the label, which it's not on this one. This is not an SST release, I don't think. So they were big behind the label being founded, SST.
Yeah.
And a lot of these underground bands like Red Cross were on SST. Heck,
Red Cross is Canadian,
yeah.
which is, and it's not punk music.
No, it's because that whole Southern California scene was really taking off. So people were
Flocking to the labels.
flocking to LA.
Yeah, and
there were
flocking to
places
LA.
to play
Yep.
and labels who were
Willing.
conducive to signing these bands.
Yeah. Yeah. Very independent of mind.
Very independent.
And way ahead of their time.
Yeah.
All of these independent record labels. I mean, if you think about the logistics of running all of that with no computers and,
yeah.
I mean, obviously they had computers in the 80s but just not connected the way that people are now. It's pretty impressive.
It
And
really
it
is.
would have had to be a labor of love for the people that
Oh, yeah.
did this work. So that's an excellent example.
You're up.
I feel like we don't talk about Foreigner all that much, and they're such a great band. And when you think about it, they have so many hits. They're kind of like, when we went to that Doobie Brothers concert at Cedia that one year, and we're standing there and we're kind of like, okay, whatever. And then 15 songs, every song for the first 10, 15 songs is a hit. And you just kind of forget how many they have. Foreigner is like that.
Oh, yeah.
And so you had Lou Gramm, who was from, I think, upstate New York, guitarist Mick Jones, Ed Gagliardi, and drummer Dennis Elliott, and keyboardist Al Greenwood. That's the original band. They've sold 80 million records worldwide, almost 40 of those in the U.S. alone. But here's where it really kind of gets crazy. You have a band that has all those hits in the 70s and 80s, and then Lou Gramm kind of flies the coop. Mick Jones is kind of holding it together, is playing shows as Mick Jones, like solo, and just putting a band together. They're playing those Foreigner hits, and then he starts doing shows as Foreigner with all replacement guys. And then comes a time, and I don't know the exact timing years when this happened. Then Mick Jones was only occasionally playing with this band. So this band that was kind of a tribute band, an official tribute band, because one of the original members is in it. Soon they're playing shows with no Mick Jones. So they're basically just a Foreigner tribute band. And they're still going today, and they're still selling tickets. And Kelly Hansen, the guy that's kind of been singing since they've been an official Foreigner tribute band, he's leaving, and they're bringing a new guy in. But then they're also, Mick Jones can't play anymore, but they're also playing occasional shows where Lou Gramm, the original singer, comes in and sings a few songs. It's just wild. And they blazed this trail because nobody had ever done this before. And since they've been doing it for like 20 years, other bands are considering it. Like before Kiss was over with, they were toying with the idea of having an official tribute band replace each of them and still go out and play shows so they can sit at home and continue to make money. Which they wouldn't technically now, because a company called Pop House owns all of the Kiss stuff now. But I'm sure Gene Simmons is devising new ways to make money. I'm sure he's a money man. He's not letting one penny go by. But I guess the whole thing is one of the major members in this tribute band is Jeff Pilson, who was the bassist for Dokken in the 80s. He's like the musical director of Foreigner, and he's kind of the guy that does all of it. He's a producer and a musician, and he's involved with a lot of other bands. But it's just, I wanted to talk about Foreigner because I'm not sure most people understand that
what's going on.
Yeah, I remember working a Colts game, 10 years ago, and Foreigner played the halftime show here in Indy. Cheap Trick did that one year too, and I kind of got to see them backstage. But I remember walking past the room where Foreigner's green room was, because it was right next to the press room, and I looked in there and I'm like, I don't recognize any of those guys. Aren't those guys too young to be Foreigner? And this is before I really knew that that's what they were doing. But yeah, man, what an interesting turn of events. Like it's taking the opportunities you have in the music industry and just running with them.
Yeah, I mean, good music never dies.
Right.
And tons of people go see cover bands all the time. And having people a little more connected
Yeah.
makes the cover band better.
Right. And that's a good point. I mean, good music is good music. It's just interesting that these guys caught on, and people still go and see them as a tribute band.
Yeah.
But other bands don't. I mean, tribute bands, people know tribute bands as tribute bands. They sell tickets like crazy.
Oh, yeah.
So, Foreigner, folks, the band you're seeing live is not the same band, but they're playing the same great songs. What's your last one?
Well, my last one is kind of funny.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit like Van Halen.
Yep.
So Joy Division, which started with when in 1980 when Ian Curtis died, suicide, the remaining band members had to go on.
Mm-hmm.
And so they became New Order. And with Bernard Sumner on vocals. They're really two different bands.
Kind of like Van Halen.
Like Van Halen.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, if you think of them that way, but it's really the same band with a new singer.
Yeah.
But they did everything. They changed their name. They're like, we're not going to tarnish Ian's legacy.
Mm-hmm.
And so they became New Order. And it was a total different sound because Ian Curtis's voice was like no other.
Yeah.
It's very haunting and spooky, where Bernard Sumner is more of a kind of a talk singer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, neither one of them are traditional singers at all.
Right.
And
they have gone on. I mean, people love this band.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah. But they're still out there performing. This came out, and so Closer was maybe New Order's last. It may have been a posthumous release. I'll have to look at my discog. There we go. Yeah, Closer was kind of it came out in 80, and I think it came out after Ian Curtis had passed.
Okay.
And then, everybody was devastated. And pretty much in 81, Movement came out on their own label, Factory Records.
Yep.
And it wasn't really it was their label, but there were a lot of other. Martin Hannett was the main producer.
Yeah.
They did a bunch of different bands in the 80s.
That's cool. I mean, it's a great example. It was a time when this hadn't happened a lot like it's happened a lot since. And people were experimenting, not knowing how it would go, but it has worked out well. And they honor the legacy of the band, Joy Division, and it's worked out well for them. I mean, under those circumstances, it couldn't work out much better, really.
I mean, this band was in Manchester, and they're playing in the kind of the house club was the Hacienda.
Yeah.
And a lot of bands would play there, and it was just that. I think Manchester is north in the UK. I don't know. My geography.
We're not.
It may be south. I think it's north.
Yeah.
And it was a big burgeoning music scene.
Yeah.
And largely because of these guys.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's funny because Joy Division was really founded because all the members were at a Sex Pistols show with maybe 50 people.
Yeah.
And they're like, we got to start a band.
Yeah.
I mean, tons of bands. The Sex Pistols influenced a lot of bands.
Yep.
But it exploded.
Yeah. That's a great example too. And I know you're just a huge fan.
Oh, I love. Yeah, and
bands.
Which one's better? I like them both quite a bit.
Yeah.
It's hard to pick. Probably Joy Division is my favorite.
I don't think you have to pick, just like the Van Halen.
Well, I got to pick.
thing. Okay.
I got to pick. So I'm going with Joy Division.
Cool.
And if you want to learn more about how this whole thing happened with these two bands, the Hacienda and Factory Records, check out, this is a movie, it's not a documentary, 24-Hour Party Film.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Great film.
Have to check it out.
Yeah.
That's an excellent example, man. I didn't even have to ask you. I knew you'd be talking about it.
You knew they'd be on the list.
My last one, it's kind of a downer.
Oh, it's heavy.
Yeah, it is.
It's
heavy.
so
This
down,
is the
it's
50th.
gonna be down.
This is the 50th anniversary Stephen Wilson remix of Chicago Transit Authority, the first Chicago album, and of course Terry Kath is the guy that we're talking about. The first lineup change. He was the guitarist, the voice, kind of like the soul of the band, and you had the horn sections. You had Peter Cetera playing bass and singing as well, but I love Chicago, and I've always loved them. There's so many eras of the band, so many great songs that people know. But, this came out, Chicago Transit Authority came out, I think in 69 or 70, and they put music out until 1978. Terry Kath was at a party. Most people had left the party, and he was there with the guy that was hosting it. He was, drugs play into this, and he was like fooling around with a gun that he had that he swore was not loaded, and the other guy was like, "Hey, be careful with that," and he's like, "Well, it's not like it's loaded," and unfortunately, he ends up shooting himself in the head because he was convinced that it was an unloaded
Don't
weapon.
play with weapons.
And he was only like 31 at the time, had just had a child. And the band considered not going on, having lost him. They did, and then their popularity just exploded, especially in the 80s with all of those hits. Foster coming in and writing more pop-oriented music for the band. Peter Cetera kind of becoming the face of Chicago. And then he sprouts off to do a solo career, which at first took off and then didn't. And Chicago has had a kind of a rotating door of singers since then. But I love Chicago. And like I said, this is the Stephen Wilson remix of this, which if you haven't heard it, it sounds great. He also did the remixed Chicago 2, and Stephen Wilson's done a million different remixes. But, we've talked about Chicago before. It's interesting because most bands are like four pieces, and those dynamics are difficult to navigate with just four people. But Chicago had like 10 people in the band.
Yeah, there are a lot of
so
folks.
you're trying to like balance the personalities and the schedules and stuff of 10 people, which you can imagine would be crazy.
And that cast was rotating. I worked with a guy who was in Chicago briefly.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
Yeah. It would be an interesting dynamic to try and exist in. But I wanted to mention Chicago just because I think they're great. They are one of those American bands that is immediately identifiable.
Oh, yeah.
Almost with no matter who the singer is, you hear those horns and the way it sounds.
And you know who it
yeah,
is.
you know who it is. There are a couple others that we wanted to just quickly mention, right?
So
You have, of course, the big dog is Pink Floyd and Syd Barrett.
this band,
Totally different.
totally different. And this is the third generation of this
Yeah.
band. The
Then-
second generation of this band
Yep.
with Roger Waters.
Yep.
And then
The
the
first.
first generation, which it's funny because David Gilmour was not in the first version of this band.
Yeah. That's crazy.
And then
Yeah, he basically replaced Sid.
he replaced Sid. And then he took it to this level,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is just kind of hard to even.
Yeah. I mean,
Compute.
this band is beloved.
They're beloved.
This era of this band is beloved.
Yeah.
Richard Wright and Nick Mason and David Gilmour going on without Roger Waters. Roger Waters basically thinking that how could you do Pink Floyd without me, and look at them.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's an excellent example. And there's a bunch more. We want you guys to communicate with us and tell us about your favorite breakup or shakeup bands, and we can get a little communication going about this subject. It's a lot of fun. It's deeper and different than looking at these bands just on the surface. I mean, you realize that those personalities are a big part
Absolutely.
of what makes this work or not work. But yes, please go to our socials. What do we want them to do when they do that, John?
Like, subscribe, comment, and share.
Sharing is caring. We want you to go to our Fourth Wall page, check all that cool stuff out, throw a few shekels at the show if you like. We want to thank Keith Toombs. We want to thank Jay Fields. We want to thank Jacob Hansen for all the behind-the-scenes work. And we most of all want to thank you guys for listening and watching. And by the way, keep watching all that stuff on the YouTube channel. It's like exploded.
Yes.
With content.
There's a lot of content.
There's a lot of great content there, and a lot of great people make that stuff happen. We just want to thank you guys for tuning in, listening, and collaborating with us on this award-winning podcast.
And we left off a couple of obvious ones, AC/DC, the
Yep.
Rolling Stones,
Yep.
but we talk about them a lot.
Yeah, so we wanted to mix it up a little bit. But we love doing this show. We love having the opportunity to do it. And we love sharing it with all of you guys. So for Wheels, I'm Jay, and we'll see you all the next time around.